Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anthea Martin. I'm Chair of the State Housing Board. I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Let's start by approving the February 2024 meeting votes. I'd like to ask for a motion from the board, please, or comments or questions.
This is James Martinez. I put the motion to approve of February's 2024 meeting vote, meeting minutes.
Thanks, James.
I'll second Nancy Jackson.
Thank you, Nancy. All those in favor signify by aye or hand raised.
Aye.
Any opposed? Excellent, thank you all. Next up, director's comments and budget update. Allison, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Anthea. I am Allison George. I'm the director for the Division of Housing in DOLA, and I am very happy to be reporting on, I think, some exciting news. We have several things that we have been working on and progress, which is good because progress means that you're moving in the right direction. How about that? And so, as many of you know, there was an executive order last August, I believe it was, where really focusing on a lot of our processes and how we do our work, how we get things contracted, how we move things through the process. And so you've heard me report on these things before. What I would like to focus on today are a couple of things. One, we had our resource advisory group kickoff March 4th, and we will be having another meeting with that advisory group in April, much to talk about. Our team has really been diving in to how we take applications, how we underwrite applications. And so this advisory group is working with us as we implement the things that we have started starting to roll out. So we are very enthusiastic about this work that we're doing together with the advisory group. To give you a sense of the types of things that we looked at with them in our first kickoff meeting, we actually were looking at those contract improvement process period things that we discussed with you back in February. So the State Housing Board got a sneak preview of those topics that we discussed with the advisory group. If you're interested, you can see this information on the Engage DOLA site. It lists who the advisory members are. These are all volunteers that we work with on a regular basis that are going to be providing that input that we need as we do our implementation. So that's one exciting thing that's in progress. The other thing is our transformational planning. And so there is both a DOLA effort, and then there also is a DOH effort. And so I'm really excited to have Maria DeCombra with us, helping to contract. We'll be contracting with two different agencies to work with the Division of Housing. There will be stakeholdering as a part of this process, looking at, as we have tripled in size in the last decade, where do we need to focus our efforts? Where do we need to continue to improve upon our processes? What would be the most efficient things for us internally? So it's really an opportunity for all of us to take a look back, engage with our stakeholders as we look at what the Division of Housing will be into the future. So this will all be happening in the next couple of months. And we're very excited to bring you in as these conversations continue. We are just, in the next couple of weeks, we'll be developing what that stakeholdering will look like as a part of that process. And again, we'll be bringing the advisory group that first started in March. We'll be bringing them into these discussions as well. So I look forward to reporting next month in April on the good things that have been happening and the progress that we're making through this transformational planning that we plan to take on. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that update, Allison. Any questions from the board? LaDon?
So I maybe missed you addressing this in the last meeting because I wasn't here for the last meeting, but there's been some media coverage about rent assistance that was available and not distributed. So I was just wondering if there was any sort of update on that. Just basically an update on that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there was a special session last fall, and during that special session, the legislature appropriated $30 million to the Division of Housing. And so that $8 million that I think you're referring to, LaDon, was rolled into that $30 million that we are currently administering with our stakeholders, our partners. Really, we have 5 agencies that we're working with to administer those funds throughout Colorado. So, and I should mention, thank you for bringing it up. We are doing it in rounds with random selection. And so I did mention that last time, but just as a reminder, what that means is we have an online short application, and it's open for I think it's 5 days. And so we'll have another round opening up this Friday where people can do this short application. From the short application, we do a random selection from that. And that is based on the capacity of our nonprofit partners. And so based on the capacity of our nonprofit partners, we will then offer an opportunity for the random selected folks to do the full application. And the full application is what goes to our partners based on their capacity. So that opens up again this Friday for the second round of what we're calling the Temporary Rental Assistance Grant Program, so TRAG.
And is the application on the Department of Housing website, or where would people find that?
It is on DOLA's website,
Okay.
absolutely. And we can share that in the chat.
Oh, that
Okay.
would be great. Thank you.
Okay. We'll share that into the chat. And if you know folks that need that link, please do share it with them.
Thank you.
It'll be open on Friday.
Okay.
Allison, do you have a sense for how many people apply and how many get randomly selected? Because there are a huge need compared to pandemic era.
So I will say that the demand far exceeds the resources that are available. And that is exactly why we're doing the random selection process.
And has the demand increased since the pandemic?
We are seeing increases in filed evictions. And so those are a priority as a part of our process that we're going through.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Okay, thanks, Allison.
Thank you, Anthea.
This will likely be a short meeting today. We have 4 projects in the project application review. The first one is Overlook at Uplands, and presenting is Demetra English.
Thank you. With us today, we have Jason Batista and Jordan Zielinski to present the Overlook at Uplands project. Thanks.
Excellent, Dee. Hopefully you can hear me. Great job on those last names. Good afternoon, everyone, State Housing Board members. Looking around, there are many familiar faces and some new faces. And again, very nice to see everyone. My name is Jason Batista, development partner at St. Charles Town Company, which is a 31-year-old real estate company based in Denver that is focused on affordable housing through its affiliates. Also, we have successfully worked with DOH on 2 projects in the past. I'm joined, as Dee mentioned, by Jordan Zielinski, Development Director, Darren Gromick, our CFO, Brian Dale, our financial consultant, and it looks like Charlie Woolley is making a guest appearance. He is the founding partner of St. Charles Town Company. I am glad to be presenting Overlook at Uplands today. I'm not going to go into too much detail, A, because you have all the details in the packet, and B, because Dee threatened to cut off my microphone at the 2-minute mark, and I want to stay in her good graces. Both her and Wayne have been excellent to work with. So Overlook at Uplands is a 247-unit, 7-building development in Westminster, with 100% of those units affordable to families at or below 40% to 70% of AMI. This project will consist of 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units, and with these larger units, as well as the on-site amenities, we are targeting larger families with kids. 3 quick highlights I wanted to go through. This is really a high barrier to entry market, and there's a lot of rental housing. There's a lack of rental housing, rather, for size for families. To demonstrate this demand, per data in our third-party reports, we are really looking at double-digit rent differentials to market rents in all unit types and all AMIs. That's a big deal for us. Secondly, this is part of the Uplands Master Plan community. This is a highly visible community. It was mentioned in the Denver Post this past weekend. The governor came out to the groundbreaking, and the Westminster City Council instituted a permit throttle requiring 300 housing units at 80% of AMI or less prior to issuing the 1,176th building permit. So I know that's a bit nuanced, but the takeaway is that the need for affordable housing in the submarket is critical and will impact future development. Third, according to the 2023 draft housing needs assessment for Westminster, 45%, or nearly half, of renter households are rent burdened in Westminster. Finally, I wanted to mention that in addition to this being a shovel-ready project, leverage is an important consideration for any impact investment, and I'm sure it's important for this board. This $3 million is really going to go a long way. We will be providing incredible leverage with this investment with just a $12K investment per unit. The write-up, I think, mentions $16,000 per unit, which corresponds to a higher investment amount, which we certainly wouldn't refuse. But at this $3 million investment amount, that's $12,000 per unit. Either way, $12,000, $16,000, this is excellent leverage. And this investment will represent just 3.4% of the project's overall capitalization. So I will stop there, and we will be addressing any questions that come in as a team.
Thank you for that presentation, Jason. Are there any questions from the board? Okay, hearing none. Thanks, Jason. Thank you all for joining today. I didn't know you were such a comedian.
Thank you.
Next up is Edge Phase 3 Apartments, and presenting the Edge today is Matt Long.
Hello, everyone. Matt Long. I'm a newer housing development specialist covering the Northeast. And so today we have Jeff and Eric with us from the Loveland Housing Authority. Take it away, Jeff.
Thank you, Matt. And thank you, board. Before I get into this project, I'm going to take the opportunity and say thanks to the board and staff for the $3.7 million that literally arrived today that you awarded us for our Legacy Crossing project. We'll put that to good use. We're submitting the PUD this week. So big week for that project. But on to Edge Phase 3. So as you know, this is 66 units, and it's the last phase of a very successful 205 unit multifamily project that will serve households with incomes at 30 to 60% of the AMI. As we did in phase 2, we're building an abundance of studios again, in addition to 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units. With those studios, we're responding both to our wait list demand, which we are seeing more demand over time for those studios, but they also lend themselves well to some of the state voucher programs that come up for to serve specialized populations such as homeless youth. We've had success with that at the Edge. We're proud of the amenities that we're able to provide. There's an existing clubhouse that this project will leverage with activities and other support provided by our service-oriented nonprofit Aspire, community gardens, playgrounds, and recently brand new connectivity to the City of Loveland's Centera Trail, which provides safe access to a lot of points around town, including retail, education. And then the property itself is close to retail and also close to the recently expanded city bus line and I-25. The need, like a lot of communities, is very strong right now, as demonstrated in our market study. But in addition to that, our wait list at LHA right now is unfortunately approaching 4,000 households. So these units are incredibly important. On the funding side, we're fortunate that CHFA awarded us state and federal 4% credits, and we've got the bond capacity to go with those credits. Our debt and equity proposals are out now. I'm happy to report that equity is coming in right at our pro forma. Well, we're happy about that. And as usual, we're getting very strong support from the City of Loveland in the form of fee waivers, as well as fast tracking us through the planning and building departments. On the budget side, like all projects, the budget's difficult. We had requested $5 million, but we're very thankful for the proposed $4.5 million in the form of a grant, a low interest loan. That will result in a little bit bigger gap, which the Housing Authority will figure out, as we usually do, most likely with additional funds from the Housing Authority, but we would make this work for sure. I'm proud to say that we are working with the same proven team that built phase 1 and 2 of the Edge. Specifically, that would be Oz Architecture and Pinkard Construction, and they're even able to bring back the same subs that they utilized at phase 2. So we expect a really smooth project with this one. And we're shovel ready. Being a phase 3 didn't hurt. The infrastructure's in place. We're through planning, and we're permit ready. The city's just waiting for us to make the request, and we'll have our permits. And so with that, I'd like to thank you again for your consideration of this project, as well as your previous support. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Jeff. Are there any questions from the board? Sam?
Thank you, Anthea. Jeff, good to see you. Good to hear from you. Just one question, and I'm not sure if this is to you or to the staff. Looks like the underwriting on this project showed a 1.11 debt service coverage ratio. Is that achievable with both the lender and the equity investor?
We'll have to go to 1.15 as usual. And we can achieve that.
Okay.
Nancy? Nancy, did you raise your hand? You might be on mute.
I found it. I couldn't find the microphone. So sorry for that. I've only been doing this for several years. I'm just wondering, you said there is about 4,000 people house need on your wait list. And I was wondering who was included in that is that the Westminster area? Is that Metro Denver? Who are those 4,000 families or people?
That is the Loveland Housing Authority wait list.
Oh,
And the vast majority of that, approximately 80%, are Loveland residents. We do have a Loveland preference in response to the great support that we get from the city of Loveland.
that's amazing. 4,000 just for Loveland. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to follow up to that question that Nancy had. Of those 4,000 individuals, how would you say the demand breakout for studios, 1 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms? Where's the highest need?
So I don't have the wait list right in front of me, but we tried to make the bedroom mix proportional to the demand that we're seeing to respond appropriately. But we do that with every project. We start by looking at our wait list and respond to the need at that time.
Okay, so it'd be 1 bedroom studios, 2 bedrooms, something like
Yes,
that.
I cannot explain exactly why, but over time we are seeing more demand for, let me back that up. We're seeing more 1-person households on our wait list.
Mhm.
And therefore we're seeing demand really for the first time at the edge for studios, as well as an increased number of ones beyond our traditional senior housing.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing. Any other last minute questions here? Okay, thank you, Jeff. Next up is Pine River Commons, and presenting is Shirley D.
Good afternoon. So presenting Pine River Commons for you today is Brad Blake, Charles Albert, and Mary Coddington.
Good afternoon. My name is Brad Blake, and as Shirley mentioned, I'm joined today by the owner-developer Charles Albert and Mary Coddington. And we appreciate the opportunity to present Pine River Commons Phase 1, the first 22 units of what will be 66-unit townhome project in Bayfield, Colorado, for a grant request. The goal of this project is to meet the dire need for workforce housing and to help those who wish to live and work in La Plata County reach their goal of home ownership. A 2021 Region 9 Housing Needs Assessment identified a need for 473 moderately priced home ownership units across La Plata County. Although this needs assessment is nearly 3 years old, very little has been accomplished to solve this housing need. Having owned a local business for 45 years and just finishing a large-scale commercial project, Charles and Judy Albert have seen firsthand the desperate need for workforce housing. You've heard it said that you need to dream big. Well, Charles and Judy Albert have chosen as their goal to help others dream big with their goal of home ownership. These are people who many times feel that they may never own a home. Pine River Commons is a project that will help fulfill those dreams. All 66 homes will be deed restricted to ensure that only the local workforce can purchase these properties now and into the future. This means that Pine River Commons will meet housing needs for 100 years. Now that is money well spent and truly impacts people's lives long term. We would like to thank our state and local partners, DOLA, the Town of Bayfield, the Regional Housing Authority, and the La Plata Economic Alliance for their help and interest in bringing this project to fruition. This investment of grant monies will have a positive generational impact in the lives of people and the community. We would like to thank DOLA for your consideration and partnership in making the dream of home ownership a reality for families and individuals that live and work in La Plata County and the town of Bayfield. We thank you very much for your help.
Thank you, Brad. Any questions from the board? Ladon.
Thanks, Cynthia. I was just wondering what kind of communication or pre-purchase meetings you're doing with people to make sure that they understand what it means to purchase one of these homes.
Yeah, the biggest thing that we've done is reach out to the community with a website. The website is complete, but we have not gone live with it. We've working with several lenders, all of whom have lists of people who are really wanting to purchase homes. So our goal is to work with those who are already on waiting lists with our lenders, and also with the community of Bayfield, working through them. And then obviously our website, which will be live as soon as we feel like we can handle the onslaught of people that we're anticipating. We also have a great highway frontage on both sides of the property, and we'll be putting up signage in those locations.
I meant more when they're buying the home, making sure they understand the deed restrictions that are around buying a home that's designated affordable.
Great question.
With them ahead of time to let them know about that.
Yes, great question. So yes, our lenders and the Homes Fund, which is a local nonprofit here, they have classes that the people can attend, and the deed restrictions will be very straightforward. These properties are meant only for people who live and work in the community, and not investors or other people who might just be looking to buy a home for a great price.
Thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions? Sam? Sam, you're on mute.
Thank you for that hint. Appreciate that. Brad, can you explain the relationship between the applicant and the developer? It seems like the applicant is a nonprofit, and in the write-up, it sort of indicated that it created this for-profit to be able to funnel profits back to the nonprofit for another mission related endeavor.
Sure, and I can let Charlie speak to that if he's still on. Charles, are you still with us? I don't see Charles.
He needs to unmute.
Oh,
You still need to unmute, Charles. Not yet. You're still muted. Sorry.
Charles, there should be a microphone looking symbol at the bottom center of your page that will unmute you.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, Samuel, I didn't have my microphone on there. No, what it is our nonprofit, we consider, has two missions. One of the missions being education, vocational education in the highlands of Guatemala. The other mission is to provide housing in La Plata County at a reasonable price. And yes, we expect to make I would say a small profit from this, and that small profit would go to fund the educational projects in Guatemala.
Charles, what I'm unclear about is why was it important to create a for-profit in order to funnel those profits to the nonprofit?
Well, we didn't really create the for-profit for this purpose. The actual owner of the project and the applicant is Bayfield Haga LLC, which is totally owned by the nonprofit. So it was just created as a subsidiary to the nonprofit for this specific project.
Okay. And what is the median sales prices of homes in Bayfield currently?
Okay, there are, I would say, new homes, say 1,400 feet, are going for about 550. Another thing I might mention is there's some townhomes that are exactly the same size as what we're building in the eastern part of Durango, and they're selling for 560. Whereas we expect us to, without the grant, we expect we might be selling for around 400. We need the grant in order to get the homes down to the 100% AMI level.
Okay, thank you.
Charles, what is the name of the nonprofit that does work in Guatemala?
The name of it is Escuela San Mateo.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Dan?
Sorry, maybe not a question as much as maybe it is a question. Charles or Brad, have you all looked into utilizing an organization like, and I'm not sure if this is their territory, the Impact Development Fund for some of your construction financing? I saw that some of the rates that you were paying were fairly high, and I'm just wondering if you've looked at other sources of financing for that.
Yeah, I think we've looked at every source possible. And actually, there's a local source that we may be able to get some financing from. If you were looking at the two banks we have listed as sources, we actually don't expect to use those. That's sort of approved there in case of emergency. So our basic funding source is 6%, and we're hoping to get some short-term financing for Brad. Explain the I forgot the name of the organization that's doing that.
Sure. Great questions, Sam. It's with the Economic Alliance. They have monies available for short-term loans, and we feel that those might be an option for us as far as the project is concerned. Cash flow wise, we know that we've crunched the numbers very closely, and we know that there's going to be a very short period of time where we will need a short-term loan, and that fits very nicely. And although they haven't given us an exact percent on the interest rate, they feel like it's going to be somewhere more in the 2% range instead of the 8 or 9% range.
Thanks very much.
Mm-hmm.
Just a comment to add to that. I believe CHAFA might have a construction loan program as well. Also CDFI, some local CDFIs. This could be a good fit for Enterprise Community Loan Fund. It looks like you're looking to fund it through lines of credit, and as Sam said, it's really expensive.
Yeah, thank you, Anthea. We have looked at CHAFA pretty CHAFA funds pretty closely, and some of the entry fees are a little bit of a barrier. And every time you close out the loan, or if you close out the loan, you might have to pay those entry fees again. So that's why we kind of steered away from that, more to a local lender. We actually had great participation from our local lenders. One that was really willing to waive all origination fees and everything. And so we've looked at it all closely, and just some of those barriers. Our whole goal is to keep the price of these units as low as possible. And for example, if CHAPA has an entry fee of $40,000, that every time you start the loan up or close it out, that goes right to the bottom line of every door in the project. So we've really tried to just really shake down every last lead that we can. And really the best possible source might be this, the Economic Alliance here in La Plata County.
Okay. Appreciate that color, Brad. Any other questions from the board? Great. Thank you, Brad and Charles, for the presentation. We're going to move on to Elevation Community Land Trust. And presenting today is Chris Peterson.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us here today. We're very excited for Elevation Community Land Trust to present another down payment assistance program using Prop 123 funding. Just so that the board is aware, the $888,000 that we are recommending to include, or excuse me, that we are recommending to award does include $46,365 in project delivery and $41,436 in program overhead. Those amounts were inadvertently omitted from the documents in front of you, so I apologize for that, but did want to make you aware. Also, as a reminder, at the bottom of the Elevation Community Land Trust pages in your packet, you will find the areas that they intend to serve and that were also opted into Prop 123. We also do have the list of the areas within those counties that did not opt into this funding. And today for Elevation Community Land Trust is Robin Hickey.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you to the State Housing Board for having us today. I'm standing in for Elevation's CEO, Steph Gafanci, who had a prior commitment at the Capitol this afternoon. And I'll just provide a brief overview of our application for funding for the DPA program. For those of you that haven't heard a presentation from us before, Elevation is an affordable housing nonprofit organization that provides affordable home ownership opportunities throughout the state of Colorado. So we are a statewide platform. The Elevation Housing Assistance Program is intended to provide down payment assistance to home buyers for a variety of eligible uses. Principal reduction to reach deeper AMI ranges or meet minimum lender requirements, closing costs to reduce the barrier of cash requirements at closing, or permanent interest rate buydowns to reduce monthly housing payments and mitigate the high barrier to entry that's created by the current mortgage interest rate environment. The ECLT Housing Assistance Funds will be targeted to those purchasing homes in Elevation's permanently affordable platform that are either newly constructed or renovated and then will be placed into our permanent housing trust, as well as any income eligible home purchasers within the service areas that are noted in the packet. Homeownership is further out of reach in Colorado than ever before. In the past 18 to 24 months, Elevation has seen a huge erosion of affordability due to high mortgage interest rates. This has been compounded by a confluence of high cost to construct, skyrocketing land values, historically high home prices, and a lack of entry-level inventory problems that I know that you're all very aware of. But together, these factors have really made homeownership inaccessible to households making less than 150% AMI in most Colorado communities and up to 300% AMI in some rural resort communities. This problem is even further compounded for households of color who have been systemically excluded from homeownership and the intergenerational wealth it generates, resulting in a historically gaping wealth inequality. These same market forces have conspired to make development of affordable for-sale housing even more difficult than it has been in the past, requiring the deployment of basically every tool that we have available to ensure homeownership justice and upward mobility. Construction subsidies, which is what we typically come to this group to request, alone cannot close that gap, really due to those sky-high interest rates that we're seeing now, as well as proportionally increasing closing costs that continue to pile on new barriers for buyers. This is particularly acute in rural communities, and we believe this down payment assistance program is one way to address these dynamic barriers, and will be a tool to ensure that ECLT homes can continue to serve lower AMIs and to provide greater access to all income eligible homebuyers. Elevation has a strong pipeline of homes delivering in 2024. We have just about 40 people on our wait list right now. We're planning to market this program to both our wait list as well as through partner organizations that serve similar AMIs to reach people outside of Elevation's existing footprint. And given the tremendous need, we anticipate that we'll be able to deploy these funds quickly. Thanks so much for your consideration, and I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Robin. Any questions from the board? Sam?
Thank you. I don't know if this question is for staff or for Robin. I noticed in the write-up that the maximum award there's by county differs. And I was just kind of curious, how is that computed?
That's computed by the maximum sales price allowed by HUD, and we compute 10%. At this time, that's what's within our guidelines. So it does vary throughout the state, and each county is slightly different.
Okay, because I was
Sam, can I just jump in with one more thing here? Just to note to the board that we are currently working on Prop 123 specific guidelines, which will also impact our DPA and SFOO programs. So there will be updates coming soon, but that's the current guidelines that we have in place with our traditional RLF programs.
All right, that's a great answer. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none. Thank you for your presentation, Robin. Moving on to the project application vote stage. Let me first ask, is there anybody that needs to recuse themselves? And then are there any proxies here to consider? Monique has given me her proxy.
I think Sam has Candace's, don't you, Sam?
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say that I have Candace's.
Okay, great. So I'd like to request a motion of approval from the board for overlook at Uplands Edge 3 Pine River Commons Elevation Community Land Trust.
So moved. This is Ladon.
Thanks, Ladon.
I'll second that. That's Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy. All those in favor signify by aye or hand raised.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it passes with flying colors. Thank you all for the presentations today. Thank you to the staff for all of the attention to all these applications, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Cynthia.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Stay healthy.